Right now, it just seems like a good time as any to make this video, as this past Monday was the hugely successful debut of WWE on Netflix. There was some great action from CM Punk versus Seth Rollins to Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa. Legends like The Rock, John Cena, and The Undertaker also made appearances to the delight of the live crowd in Los Angeles. However, there was another legend who made an appearance, which was not well received by the audience, to say the least. That legend is, of course, none other than the immortal Hulk Hogan. On top of the live audience's general disdain for Hogan, his appearance felt out of place. He came out to promote his Real American beer and tell us to say our prayers and eat our vitamins like it's 1989, brother. I think it seems pretty clear after last night, Hogan won't be making any more appearances on WWE TV. It appears evident that wrestling fans have moved on from him, and maybe WWE should too. That will be difficult given his beer is now a sponsor of WWE programming. One of the many reasons why people share disdain for the almighty Hulkster is because of his habit to bend the truth. Hogan has been on record to tell some of the most outrageous and downright funny lies from any celebrity, not just wrestler. Let's not waste any more time as we look at Hulk Hogan's most infamous lies. Honestly, this video could be solely comprised of Hogan's lies from his appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast in August of 2023. That 2+ hour of conversation gave us endless Hogan content, so we'll start there. He claimed that Harley Race once pulled a gun on him at an arena, only to put the gun down and tell Hogan he wanted a job at the WWE. If you don't believe me, just listen to the man himself say it.
Because I don't want to get caught with my pants down and I want to have a fighting chance. I come blowing out of the bathroom, I turn around the corner, he puts that gun right in my face.
He then claimed to have kept an eye on Brock Lesnar when he was in high school. I didn't know Hogan was a scout too. Maybe this is true. Maybe he scouted Brock back in the mid-90s while he was running wild with the NWO. The funny part about this is right before talking about Brock, he says that in 2002, he was in his era of putting guys over. I must have missed that era. Let's just ask Randy Orton and Shawn Michaels how that went, brother. He said he wrestled Brock when he came back from the UFC in 2002. Unfortunately, Brock didn't debut for UFC until 2008. Apparently, he called Brock Lesnar broccoli during their matches. I'm sorry, this guy is hilarious. Then there is the infamous story about SummerSlam 1992 at Wembley Stadium, which Hogan was not a part of the event. Let me just preface with that. He said how there was a kid on a stretcher with EMTs that, quote, had a smell to him that Hogan hadn't smelled in a while. He proceeded to say how he got the kid a seat at ringside while he wrestled at Wembley Stadium, and he kept looking around, but he couldn't see the kid at ringside. Again, Hogan was not present for SummerSlam 1992 at Wembley Stadium, and this is also the only WWE event to have ever taken place at that stadium. While on the topic of Make-A-Wish kids, Hogan claimed to have visited some with the King of Pop, Michael Jackson. Maybe that isn't a lie, but there is no proof of Hogan and Michael Jackson ever meeting or visiting Make-A-Wish kids, so you be the judge. Hogan has done charity work and does do Make-A-Wish appearances, just to be clear. However, this lie still seems a little outrageous. He then proceeds to say how he was offered to compete for Pride Fighting in the 70s. Pride Fighting was a Japanese MMA organization that wasn't founded until the 90s. He didn't stop there, as he said he beat some of the fighters in shoot fights. Alright, now that we're done with Hogan's infamous Joe Rogan appearance, let's talk about the creme de la creme of the Hulkster's lies. My favorite lie of his is the one where he claimed to have wrestled 400 days in 1 year. That's right, Hogan claimed to wrestle 400 days, not 400 times. Last time I checked, a year consists of 365 days. But hey, what do I know? He defended this claim by saying how he traveled from the United States to Japan so frequently that the time zones caused the extra days. Now, speaking of Japan, he claimed that while he wrestled Antonio Inoki in 1983, that Inoki almost died during the match. He was brought back to life by CPR, and Hogan had to escape Japan and the Yakuza. In his autobiography, My Life Outside the Ring, Hogan made two outrageous claims that jumped off the pages to me. First, he said that Elvis Presley was a huge Hulkamaniac, brother. Sadly, Elvis was dead and gone before Hulk Hogan rose to fame. I have no idea why he would lie about that, to be honest. Secondly, he claimed that Mike Tyson was supposed to have a celebrity fight or match of some sort with him, but backed out because Tyson was scared of Hogan. That's right, the baddest man on the planet, Mike Tyson, was scared of Terry Bollea, pal. And then there's a more serious lie, which really rubs a good amount of wrestling fans the wrong way. It is one he told about The Undertaker. Taker has told this story from his perspective too. In 1991, when Taker was wrestling Hogan, he delivered a tombstone pile driver to Hogan. Hogan then told Taker that he dropped him on his head and nearly paralyzed him, which freaked Undertaker out because he thought he could lose his job. Only for Taker to find out years later that he executed the move perfectly upon watching it back on tape. Go figure. He also claimed he wanted to turn heel on The Ultimate Warrior before WrestleMania 6, which I doubt anyone believes. Another downright hilarious lie from Hogan is that he was supposed to be offered the sponsorship of the George Foreman Grill, which of course went to boxing legend George Foreman. He said during an episode of Hogan Knows Best that he didn't answer the phone when they called because he was picking up his children from school, and that caused him to miss out on the sponsorship. He oddly claimed to be sitting next to Kerry Von Erich on a plane in Japan just 3 days prior to his death. I doubt that this is true because Kerry wrestled his final match in Dallas, Texas just 6 days prior to his death and was also facing a pending arrest. And then of course there are the infamous tales of his music and baseball endeavors. He claimed he was offered to be the bass guitarist for the legendary band Metallica. According to Hogan, Lars Ulrich personally asked Hogan to join the band. Ulrich said he didn't know who Hulk Hogan was when Howard Stern asked him about it on an interview on the Howard Stern Show. As far as baseball goes, Hogan did play Little League and high school baseball, but that was the extent of his playing career. However, he claims that the New York Yankees and Cincinnati Reds scouted him until an arm injury forced his baseball career to end. In real life, Randy Savage was a touted prospect for the Reds, so maybe Hulk Hogan was a little confused. Last but certainly not least, Hogan said he told the WWE that Kevin Owens would be a big star after watching a couple of his matches in NXT. That's right, Hogan took credit for a guy who already had a legendary career on the Indies and had already been signed with WWE. Jim Cornette has hilariously debunked Hogan's lies on his podcast, among other peers, notably his lies about Michael Jackson and wrestling 400 times in 1 year. In short, Hogan's lies are one of many, many reasons why people are fed up with him, which was evident by the chorus of boos he received from the LA crowd on Monday night while promoting his new beer. Perhaps if people felt like Hogan was being honest when it comes to his more serious controversies while taking full accountability for his actions, wrestling fans would be more willing to give him a second chance. I don't know if he has CTE, or if he is a narcissist, or if he genuinely believes everything he is saying. Maybe it's something else. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, seemingly people are done with Hogan. Are they right to be? Are you fed up with Hulk Hogan? And what's your favorite lie of his? Perhaps he will look at the blunder that was his appearance on WWE's debut on Netflix and try to repair his image. Because as of now, it seems like he won't be making any more appearances for WWE anytime soon. Well, that'll do it for this video, and I'll talk to you on the next one.